Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Life is Better with Music with Gavin and Mitchell. So before we get started this week, we kind of drifted really quick away from drum corps. Really quick as soon as DCI finals were done. But we are going to touch on those DCA final scores from the other night on the 4th that they had in Rochester, New York. We have three class winners and 12 scores just to look at real quick because we were touching on them like tiny bit throughout the season because they were at DCI shows. But
Mm-hmm.
the main premise of today will be Fame Show Choir, and I want to kind of talk about Fame Show Choir when we get to that. You may notice I have a uh, little rasp in my voice. I caught the I guess I don't know what it was. It was like either strep throat, or kind of like
You just caught a bug.
a bug of that kind of shifted into like the common cold.
Yeah.
So it's like now because I mean fall season always when like it's not fall yet, but like
Well, it's
heading into
changing and the
yeah
allergies and everything is
it's
just screwy. Like it's getting
yeah
slightly cooler, which I don't like because
and it's
I still
always
have a
that
pool
time
at
of
my
year
apartment.
too.
I still have a pool at my apartment, so I still want to go to the pool.
Well, you gotta what? Spring is in 14 days. No, 16 days. Or
You
not
mean
spring.
fall,
Yeah,
bud?
fall. Fall is in 16 days.
I
Yeah,
got 16
that's
days. All
spring.
right, lit.
But then I mean, in reality, yeah, spring isn't however long, so then you can go back to the pool again.
Yeah.
So you got 16 days until you gotta wait till spring, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I have some type of little bug, but it was a lot worse on Friday morning. I woke up Friday morning.
Dead.
I was like, you know, I was so coffee. So like at work, I wore a mask, because nowadays if you cough anywhere, it's like,
Oh, you have corona.
yeah, like do you have COVID? So I was just like, I'll just wear a mask. Like, I'll just whatever. But I am excited. I will say this. This weekend is, or not weekend. This week is kind of like our choreography week. We want to add a lot of choreography in our show at Licking Heights, and I'm teaching like this circle choreo,
Oh God.
and it's like a huge thing. But so I'm excited to teach that the next couple days because we have an away football game we're gonna perform it at for the
Oh,
first time.
really?
Yeah,
They
and then
take the band to away games?
yeah,
Imagine.
it's not like Tarpon where we did like one, maybe two,
We don't go to away games
maybe
at
three.
all.
We never go to away games at Tarpon. We went to one in my time there, and it was our rival football team, and we barely fit in the stands because we were so big. So we just kind of whatever. But I do like how because this program like Licking Heights like their football team like is good, and they have an actual really good relationship with the football team. Like they support each other really well, which I love that.
Yeah.
So we go to basically every game. But this year it's hard for us to go to every game because like we have kind of like a
Shows.
bus driver shortage.
Oh,
So
yeah, that'll do it.
we couldn't go last week. So we kind of took Friday off and gave them a 4-day weekend because we
Hmm.
rehearse every day. But we go into an away game this week and they push the game 30 minutes later.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm gonna be so tired.
Yeah.
I need to ask where it is because I don't even know like how far.
Oh, watch it be on the other side of the state.
Don't say that, please.
I
Well,
will not speak into existence.
we usually stay in our nice little area, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And then we have our home competition next week when like the first week of
Oh, I see.
away starts, and
Well, there's some local shows starting up this weekend. Brownsburg is gonna be going on this weekend on the 10th, and
hmm
there's like really good couple programs that are going out there. Carmel's going to be there making their debut performance for the year. And at Westfield, Avon's going to be there on Saturday. So that'll be interesting. I'll have to see what I can hear and see what I can find out from uh my contacts back home and seeing how they're doing and see how they've grown or shrunk from last year or see how they're doing musically and visually.
Uh huh. Yeah. Um, but like all these bands are coming out the next couple weeks. First Bands of America shows, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Um, that's the same weekend. Like we have our outdoor music festival, like what Tarpon did.
Whoa, an
We
outdoor
call
music
it
festival.
Licking Heights Pageant of Bands. I think that's what we call it.
Let me guess,
Um,
is it the outdoor performance ensemble?
no, only Tarpon is called that.
No, there's a program in Texas. James Bowie is the outdoor
Nope,
James Bowie outdoor performance
nope,
ensemble.
nope. It's just Tarpon Springs.
T-Soap.
The Tarpon Springs Outdoor Performance Ensemble. Please welcome in their Grand Nationals Finals performance. The Tarpon Springs Outdoor Performance Ensemble.
Centerville Jazz Band. That's all there is to say. Centerville
Also,
Jazz Band.
listen, I love my home team. I love
Oh yeah.
Tarpon to death. But the people who are on Horn Rank right now
Oh, they're
saying that
clowning. They're
says
clowning.
Tarpon is making top 3. I do not see
Oh,
that happening.
oh. They're saying
I don't
that?
I don't know. There's like a couple people
Ah,
who are saying Tarpon in top 3. I'm like, I don't
I find
think
it
that's
interesting.
it's not
I
our
think
year.
I think that might be I think if there's gonna be a year, I think it's gonna be this one. Something in me just says this is gonna be the year because if you look at it, I'm not gonna say shortage of great bands gonna be there, but this is a relatively lighter year in terms of no
Yeah,
Texas
but
groups or very few.
I was about to say there are some Texas groups going still, and like
Right, but
in comparison,
they aren't at Tarpon's caliber. I'm just gonna state the
but
obvious.
but this is the thing though. I don't think after what happened in 2018, and with our band slightly getting smaller since then growing back up, and like we're kind of back there again, but we don't
Hmm.
have. I th- I think we don't have almost anybody who has been to Indy in this band.
No,
Cause
you don't.
and that's the thing. Cause Tarpon did every other year,
Hmm.
and
And
now
COVID kind of screwed that one.
so last year was 18. So we had 19, 20, COVID year,
Hmm.
21, and then
Y'all should have
22.
gone in 21. Y'all should have gone in
Yeah,
21.
yeah. So I think if my math is right, the freshmen in 2018, they'd
They're
probably
gone.
they
They're
yeah
gone.
they're either gone or they're like if you're an eighth grader or would they be gone?
The
18
eighth
to
grade, yeah.
19, 19 to
18 is
20.
gone. 18 is gone. Trust me, I know.
Uh, oh
Because
yeah.
that's the last Carmel class that won a national championship.
And are all they gone?
Yep. So now it's all the freshmen that I had my senior year that are the seniors this year.
Mm. And that was your senior year was 2019, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So yeah, think about that. Tarpon has no indie vets,
Nope.
and that's a big uh-oh.
That's a big adjustment.
And
But
I
I
mean, if
think
we're
they'll be
doing
fine.
but if we're doing 3 Bands of America shows, like we're going to Tennessee, Orlando, and Grand
They're
Nats,
gonna
then
get
that
a
gives
run in the
us
dome. They're gonna get
yeah
a run in a dome at Tennessee.
yeah. And usually we don't
So
really get that because in
until like
2018 we didn't
yeah,
get that because Atlanta was taken
yeah.
away, and we would have that in Atlanta, but we didn't
They're
have
gonna
that
get a run in a
anymore.
dome in Tennessee, and they're gonna adjust it off of that. But you also got to keep in mind that there are people who have played in a dome, like what they did last year. So there are still people with relative experience with playing in a dome, in other words, from
But
outside.
Lucas Oil's a whole different
Oh,
world.
Lucas Oil is a whole other beast, but still,
Like
it's better than nothing.
It's better
And
than nothing, but also
I
we're not used
think,
to that cold either. That's
yeah,
another
that
thing you have to
too.
think about. We're so
I'm
that's our we Tarpon suffers the most from temperature changes. From 2017 when the last year we got to perform in the Atlanta Superdome or Mercedes Benz, and then going into 2018 when we switched back into Orlando, that was a rough year because that first show in Orlando, our souls were burning off our feet. Like it was not, and it was too hot for us. Like we don't perform at 2 o'clock ever. That's we're in school. Like we just got out of school at 2 o'clock. We don't ever rehearse at 2 o'clock. It's like,
right.
and then
We,
going
I
into
think, I think
indie,
Tarpon's going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're either top three or top four.
I don't. I personally, I do not think that will be happening.
I think
I
Carmel is a good chance for number six national championship. I think they have a good shot. I think Broken Arrow is a good shot at defending. I'm not super high on Avon just because of I saw a clip earlier and I wasn't 100% like it didn't blow me away. That's what I'll say
mhm.
about it.
And
It
their show is like officially announced, right? So we can talk about it.
technically, yes, from what I've
Like,
been
I mean, if
what
I search,
I mean,
let me see. Let me go on their Instagram. If it's on their Instagram, it's
they
released.
don't update their Instagram, dude. They
They
don't.
don't.
No.
Well, I saw it
Not at
on
all.
Matt Harloff posted it.
Oh, did he really?
Yes.
Oh. What on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't follow Matt Harloff on
it's
Facebook.
it's literally his background.
Oh. Okay, now I need to. I want to go see this real quick. I'm gonna take a peek at this because this is interesting.
Um. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's on their Facebook too, so I think we can. Well, technically, it's been on there since August 21st that they have the banner.
I am gonna reserve my thoughts and
Yeah,
critiques
well,
until I see
yeah,
it
that's
in
your
person.
rival, so don't talk.
No, no, that has almost nothing to do with it. That hell, it's very little to do with it. I just I don't know if because from what I've heard from Carmel, I'm just saying that's probably one of
I
where
prefer
they
Carmel
were.
show over what I think the theme is of Avon show.
Oh, I do too. And just I'm just trying to say that in the most unbiased way. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you.
like I don't
The
know
wild
if
card
they're
is Broken
going.
Arrow. That's the wild card there.
Oh, I think Broken Arrow is gonna have a great year.
Oh, I think they are too. I think
They're
they're
coming back defending, and they're gonna come back hard. Like they're not.
we'll see. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard to win one, but it's hard to win another back to back.
But I don't know. Broken Arrow is another
They're
beast,
if
and
they can
that's
pull it off, I don't doubt it. Like,
and
that doesn't shock
th-
me.
this is what I want to say about Tarpon, is I think, and I'm biased towards that program because I came from it, but I could see it. I don't think we're gonna break top four.
I
I
think you
don't.
guys are.
I
My
don't.
question is, who
I
else?
think. I think it's
Who else?
no. Well, that's the same thing in 2018. You expected us to be top three
Right, but I'm just
with
saying,
that
who
show,
else?
but
If we're gonna
but
look, if
Tarpon is the band that goes out of the books.
right,
That's the thing. We push the envelope, and not a lot of judges like that. So that's why these shows get fourth and fifth place, because we try to do more like crowd pleasing and fun shows for the students to have the best performance possible. And
just run
that's
Man
where
vs.
it's
Machine
like,
2.0.
well, and that's the thing. Like Man vs. Machine was a great show.
Yeah,
RP1 was a great show. Pandora
yeah.
was a great show. And
Pandora actually won
I know,
semi or
I know,
prelims.
I know. Trust me, I know. Um,
No, I
but
lied. We won prelims, and then y'all tied with us for second.
yeah,
That's right, in semis.
it, we were up there and then we dropped down. But this is what I'm saying is I think Tarpon will be in top six, but I don't know if we'll push top four, not three. I don't think we'll be top three. And
You're gonna have to do something
until I
really
see
well.
a judge panel, I'm gonna keep my placement in top six.
I'm gonna say top six for sure. I'm gonna say top four because solely because based on the fact of who else?
Well,
We looked at that list,
and
and
that's another
obviously
thing
someone could
is
come out of nowhere and surprise us out of left field, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
like
My
Boston did
thoughts.
this year. Like think about
Right.
it. Boston like
Right.
Tarpon could be the Boston of BOA this year and like push up, which would
And
be
I think that's
great.
what's
I'd
gonna
love
happen.
that.
I
But
think that's what's gonna happen, and it would not shock me
I just
because
don't
I
think
just I feel like we're due for another. I feel like we're due for another Tarpon Strong year.
I I love my program,
I really
but
think we're just due for it.
with
I need it.
knowing the limitations of my program and knowing that we haven't had an indie year since 2018
Right.
and all we've had is one group to perform in a stadium that we don't ever usually perform in anyway, a Tennessee Dome, and we still have Camping World in Tennessee, like we have those two. And that's what gets me afraid is like what if Tarpon pulls out again like we did last year and doesn't go to Indy or doesn't go to like Tennessee, then you either don't have Indy or you don't have a dome. And then Indy's just like a shot in the dark. Like and that's the thing is with Tarpon, we experiment on the off years. We take that off year to experiment,
Hmm.
and then Indy year we bring our game, and you can kind of tell the theme. If you
Oh
look at the
yeah.
on year shows, they all have a slight same formula. The off year shows are very sporadic,
Madness was out
testy,
there.
new
Revolution
thing.
Remix was out there.
Exactly, like we had
Oz
the guard,
21 was out
like
there.
yeah, like 2017 Madness, we had the bicycles, like that was a test. Then in 2019 Revolution Remix, we had the CDs or like the records that the guard would be using and like go on that, and a trumpet screamer. And then Oz 21 was also just like another experimental show that was technically supposed to be our next indie show. Like roughly that was gonna be the show in 2020 that we took, but we know how that season went.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
just makes me nervous because we have no indie vets, and so no one's gotten to really. I mean, yeah, the staff and like obviously Mr. Ford, but like it's hard to kind of just go out
As
into
a
indie and
performer,
just
it's tough to
place
go
top
into a
three.
dome. Yeah.
And that it's like that's where I'm like I think if Tarpon, I think this year Tarpon's gonna go back to indie, get back into every other year, make top six, take it or leave it. Then next time we go to Indy, we'll be okay. Here we are. We're back on this schedule. Let's kick some ass. Like that's where I think it's gonna end up happening. And also we have to think about how many staff changes we've had too
Hmm.
throughout the whole music program there.
Right.
Like we just lost the new one we got last year and replaced it, and we
Right.
also just got new color guard staff too this year. So it's like it's a lot of different things
Where's
I'm
the color
thinking
guard
about.
staff from?
Pff, I don't know off the top of my head. Hold on. It's I know one of them. Let me see. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, because we got two new staff members. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we got Tim Sexton and then Sam Ingram.
I don't know either of
Um,
those two names.
Doctor Tim Sexton. He. Let's see. Trying to see. It seems like he's taking that like band
Hmm.
spot, and then Sam Ingram is taking like the dance spot,
Gotcha.
like roughly. Yeah, Mr. Sam Ingram, director of dance, and Dr. Tim Sexton our new associate director of bands. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where they're going. But it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, we have staff there who've performed in Lucas Oil. But again, the last time they performed in Lucas Oil was 2018, unless they were in a drum corps.
Mm-hmm.
And off the top of my head, I don't know how many Tarpon staff members were actually in drum corps the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where it's like Lucas Oil for us. Like I was saying, temperatures change. So when we get to Lucas Oil, it's like 50 degrees colder than it is in Florida because it's
Right.
also early November. Like we're approaching those winter months, and for us it seems even colder because we're used to the 90-degree heat the whole summer and whole fall. It's like, so that's where it's scary for us.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm gonna give us the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's not possible we push top three, but I think it's a safer bet to call it as top six.
Right.
Kind of with um Drum Corps. It was a very surprising year. I
Mm-hmm.
expect BOA to be the same way,
Yeah.
so I'm not too worried about it. But I think that's kind of how it's gonna lay. I think top three is gonna end up being Carmel, Avon, and Broken Arrow.
In whatever random order.
Broken Arrow top. Um, is Blue Springs going?
I think so.
See, that's another group that gets thrown into that mix too. 2018, they were above everyone, man.
Okay, but that's not
Like what? They got third place.
right.
No one expected that,
No, I didn't expect that. I was
but they
very
did. They got
I
above
was
Broken Arrow,
very
Tarpon. That makes
I
no
was
damn
very
sense.
I was very astounded when I heard in semis when they took our visual caption from us. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Whoa, what are you
They,
talking about there,
they were
bud?"
coming for you.
Oh, okay. All right now.
I think. I think honestly, it's probably going to be between Carmel and Broken Arrow.
I think
So
so too. I think it's going to be either one of those two in the running, and I'm all here for that. If it's another BA year, fine. Good for them.
they had a great show last year.
They did have a very good show last year.
So, but moving on from that, we'll get more into that stuff when we
Yeah.
actually get into the competition.
Oh,
So,
another DCI little nugget of news. News broke tonight that a certain composer and arranger was rejoining the Cavaliers brass staff. So,
I wonder who that is.
I would like to welcome Richard Saucedo back to the Cavies. I'm looking forward to hearing what he arranges for them next year. I spent 4 years playing Saucedo's music.
Heck
Love
yeah.
it. Fantastic composer. He was with the Corps in the early 2000s when they won five World Championships. Um, Back when the Cavies were like really just cream of the crop. And that's not to
I
say they
miss
aren't good now, but
I miss those cavies.
oh, I miss those Cavies so much. I love those Cavie shows. Frameworks, amazing. Amazing show. I remember Cavies and Cadets always duking it out in
Yeah,
the early 2000s.
that's how it
Like
was.
the '01, '02. '01 was the '01 was juxtaposition from Cadets. '02 they played Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, which I absolutely love. But those are some of those really solid shows that really just push the envelope. If we're going to talk about pushing the envelope, like
Oh
the
yeah.
Cavies and Cadets definitely pushed the envelope early 2000s, and I'm hoping that Richard Salcedo's arranging, and Michael McIntosh is back writing their percussion, so that's the two Carmel arrangers that read our perk book and read our wins book. So I
Carmel
might have I might have
2.0.
a little I might have a little bias in saying, hey, I hope they do well this year.
They won't be top six.
I don't know. I don't think they will, but I
Sorry, cavies. You are
I don't
not going to
know.
be top six.
I don't
So
know.
think about it. Who else is going to drop out of top six except for the cadets?
No one.
So
Unless
it's either
unless
you
SCV.
guys or
Unless
cavies.
SCV. It's either SCV. SCV could be vulnerable.
No, I think next year SCV is learn from that. That's gonna.
Oh,
We'll talk
get
about
out of
that in
here.
DCI off season. Like we
We'll
have
get
a
into
whole
that.
like 3 month period to talk about that before DCI even starts.
Right.
So I think,
We'll
but side thing, I think SCV is gonna come back with a vengeance. Same with Blue Knights. I think those two cores are coming back, saying, this show didn't really work for us. Let's go back to let's
right.
new formula." And all of the team from Paradise Lost for Boston Crusaders is
I
returning.
saw that. I
So
saw that they're all coming back,
we
which
are
I think is
we're pushing for that championship next year. That's the
it's gonna
plan.
you're
That's
gonna have to
Gino's
beat
plan.
you're gonna have to beat the big bad Blue Devils.
Listen, we were on their tail a lot of the season. We were pretty close behind them most of the season, and then Blue Coast jumped up all of a sudden. But again,
Whatever.
move on from that. That was last
Whatever.
season. Um,
Whatever.
but yeah, last week we had the DCA World Championship finals here. So for A class, our first place winner was Fusion Core with a score of 85.275, and second place Skyliners, 80.95. I almost said Skylanders, my bad. Three
The Governors.
that's 78.975, and four, the Columbus Saints at a 71.675. Then our open class champion, the Hurricanes, at an 89.45. Second place in Atlanta CV, 87.75. Third, Cincinnati Tradition. Go my pals over at Cincinnati Tradition, 83.35. And then Marks Hollow, 81.475. And then the world class,
With the score of 97-6.
97.6, the Buccaneers.
The Reading Buccaneers.
And then second place Caballeros, 96.725. Third Bushwhackers, 94.6. And then four White Sabres, 90.8. So these are our three champions. I know we kind of jumped off of that pretty quick this year. Next year we'll make sure we kind of stay with that, because I honestly forgot that was still going on.
I did too.
But I was
did not
watching it
realize
and I was
until
we just completely forgot to keep covering that. So we'll make sure we do a better job of that next year. But yeah, congratulations to our 2022 DCA World Champions in all three categories. I honestly, looking at these scores. I could have expected that to be the scores throughout the season, so I'm not too surprised. But sweet. So moving on from DCI and Marching Band World for a moment. So this is what the main point of this episode is. So Fame Show Choir, or Show Choir America. So Mitchell hasn't gotten to talk about show choir in quite some time.
no.
I actually have some show choir choreography in the show for Licking
cool.
Heights. They put their
Nice.
horns down. They're using their arms, so we're getting into it. But show choir. Let's talk show choir. Show choir is not a musical.
No.
It is not a play. It's a different thing. It's like how indoor WGI is not indoor marching band. It is indoor winds, percussion, and color guard. It is WGI. It's its own entity. Marching band is its own entity. Drum corps. I always don't like when people are like, it's a musical. I'm like, you're not 100% wrong, but you're also
But you're not
wrong.
right.
So what show choir is, so for people who don't know, and this is why I think the arts community needs to come together and understand all these different ensembles, so maybe more people want to be a part of these other ensembles, because I did this in high school as well. So show choir, you have sets of risers, and it's not like the normal skinny risers where you stand in middle school choral choir, choral ensemble. It's they're very long, and you probably have seen them in like choir rooms or band rooms or anything of the sort. You've probably seen these really thick risers that are like really short, taller, taller, taller. You can have like three. We usually did three levels, four, I think maybe five, depending on how big your choir is and like what the competition like respects, I guess, like what they say is okay. Um, competition rules. Um, but show choir is, I call it the marching band of choir. It's like, it is just as hard. It is just as hard as marching band. Because your shows aren't like 12 minutes long. It is like 20 to even half an hour long. You got like five to like six, seven, eight different songs you sing. You have soloists, costumes, costume changes in the show, um, choreo with your arms, face, upper body, and you can imagine you have choreo for it. Like
Right.
it's not just like it's not like marching band where you basically do this with your upper body and your
Yeah.
lower body's what moves. It's your whole body singing. As you can see, like you get these sweet costumes with it. I think show choir costumes are so cool. Um, and you get to have amazing shows with it, amazing show themes. Like I played trumpet for two show choir shows, and then I performed in two show choir shows. I played for Duplicity of Man. We had like black suits that transferred into red, and it was like the girls with the dresses as well. Then Sophisticated Ladies, who did like a roller coaster of love show. So it was like all these like nice love tunes, which was really fun. Then my junior year, where I was in the show as a tenor soloist, like vocally, and we did a David and Goliath show based in the future, and we all
Mm-hmm.
wore silver, and then built like giant computers that were like Goliath, stuff like that. And then my senior year, where like I really like kind of took the reins with my choir director having to retire early, was our zombie apocalypse show, and we did like the zombie stomp thriller. Like we did cool stuff like that. Got to like make ourselves like look dead. So it was like that's the freedom of show choir. You have like traditional show choir, kind of like with traditional marching band, and then you also have themed show choir, kind of like in marching band how you have themes or storylines or just a traditional show. And it's like that's show choir is basically just the vocal version of marching band. Like the show choir captions is like best vocals. Usually in marching
Best
band,
music,
best
yeah.
well, in show choir, I don't know if you remember, but I
Wait,
said this.
there's a best brass, or there's like a best show
Well,
band.
there's the best band, yeah, but in marching band, how like usually best general effect wins, best vocals wins in show choir. If you get best
Right.
vocals, you're usually the winner, and like that's mostly how it is. And I like it like that. I think if you're actually like the best vocally, you should like you're a choir, best vocally. Like
Right.
obviously your other scores need to be good too, but like if like you're up there and you got the best vocals, I think you should win because you're
Right. As long as
dancing.
everything else is like,
Yeah, it's
solid.
really good as well. And that's kind of how I think marching band should be leaned towards more. Is like, yeah, like the visual of marching need to be more inclined. Like again, like we talked about how we need to kind of adjust the scores a little bit,
Hmm.
make general effect either like a little bit less, make music and like perk and all this stuff more. It's just
I
like,
wish BOA did a color guard and percussion caption.
oh, I do too. I think
I
that'd be
mean, we
so
get
cool.
dumpster fired in the percussion caption. No offense, like I love my percussionist, but you
Like,
could definitely tell that there are some programs that were better or stronger in drumline, as in like Avon
and I
or
think that would help
Hebron.
decide like who like the true winner is too. Is having those extra sub captions too, and also it's more awards. Like, it's
Right.
more awards for the students. So
That
it's like,
and if you're in for your program, like like hey, you win the color guard caption. That's still.
Exactly, and that will
Especially
like
on a
that's.
especially on a tarpon year. Yeah, then that's
I think Tarpon would take guard. They'd
or
be like the
Avon.
They would
No,
be
it'd be
like the
Avon.
Boston.
No, it'd be Avon, son.
Eh, we'll
It'd be
see.
Avon.
We'll see. Avon and Tarpon has a great color guard.
Don't forget about Carmel. They were second place in world class this year.
Do you ever watch Bellboy?
I did. They would have won. They would have
Mm-hmm.
won.
That's
I t
Tarpon's color guard.
I told that to Zach in the lot. They would have won.
They would have won.
They would have. They would have slapped everyone.
I think if Tarpon consistently went the Bands of America, they'd be the Boston Crusaders of BOA. They would always get fifth or sixth place, but they'd always get best color guard.
And we're the
That
Blue
was a
Devils.
caption. Yeah, you're the Blue Devils. Pay the judges.
Hey, Blue Devils don't pay the judges. BD does not pay the judges.
Yeah, they play for the judges.
Hey, it's a
But
competition.
listen,
That,
we're
sorry,
not in marching
continue.
band. We're
We're
not in
not in
marching
marching
band.
band. We're in show
Um,
choir.
So, again with show choir, we have Fame, which I consider BOA, and then we have state circuits like OSC, A, Ohio Show Choir Association, stuff like that. But a lot of, and this is the thing, is show choir is not as mainstream as marching band, so there's not as many competitions because it doesn't call for it. I wish it was like every school, if like their show choir was big enough, they did a show choir. I think that'd be really cool.
Right.
So a lot of the show choir competitions are more state related and more county related. So they have like Peach State Invitational, which is Tifton, Georgia. That Tarpon would go to. Syndicated Sound and SL, our Sophisticated Ladies group, we'd always go there. And that was kind of like our big show. We did Fame back when we had more money. And I think my senior year, because we were actually supposed to go to New York, but all the COVID stuff happened, so we couldn't.
Right.
I think there was something Fame related in New York, and we were going to go to New York City. And bummer, but show choir is short of it, the vocal version of marching band. You're doing a show theme, costumes, all this. It's not Adam's Family. So let's do a 2-hour musical. It's not that. It is 20, 30 minutes, awesome vocal selections. They sing, they dance, they have fun, awesome costumes. Look at this guy. Look at the guy in the last one.
He's just flipping.
He's flipping. That's
He
the
really
stuff
do
you
be.
get to do. And also, really cool prop designs too. And lights. Like, what was that? You probably won't even remember. But remember that one show when we watched it on the old podcast that had like the whole like Hamilton like backdrop? Like it was like a ship and everything. And they threw boxes to each other and stuff.
I
Like
don't remember that. I'm
that's
gonna be
fun.
honest. I don't remember that.
Like that, and they, I think they did My Shot. It was one of them, but I remember watching that one because it was my first time actually watching it. Was on the podcast, and it was probably like my favorite one we watched. The audience on that podcast didn't get to see the visuals, but it was a good show. But
Hmm.
moving on, so show choir Fame, as you can see here, we have Orlando at the Hard Rock. Um,
Oh, that's fun.
we did that my
Was that at
sophomore year.
Universal?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we did that one my sophomore year, and I was a trumpet player for it. But yeah, we did that and had like a whole weekend in Universal and stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like these are all in March and April. Like this is
I
very
loved going to
early.
Universal. Side note, I went on the bowl trip. I went on the bowl trip with UK last year, and that was fun.
Nice.
Now I get to go
Um,
back down to Gainesville.
with like show choir, the competitions are mainly from like mainly February through April. It's like that's the main range, but the show choir show usually is like we basically camps are happening now, happening
Hmm.
soon, or have already happened for these show choirs. So they do this show throughout the whole entire year, and that's another thing with show choir is it's the whole year instead of just like half the year like marching band. It is the whole year perfecting the show, harder to perfect these moves because it's a smaller group, so it's easier to pick these things out.
Mhm.
And if you're out of tune as a singer, they'll hear it. It's a lot more technical than marching band in my opinion, just because of like size wise, marching band takes it. Like it's technical size wise for marching band, but short ensemble wise, and it's very easy to pick out mistakes. Like you need to be precise in show choir, or you're gonna get caught. Like it's very like to have the whole ensemble doing like the same move, and for one person to be out of it, boom, boom. Like it's so easy for visual judges, and that's the basis of it. But yeah, I've done the Hard Rock Cafe one. But yeah, so March 11th, 2023 will be Orlando Hard Rock Cafe. Then Orlando on March 18th, 2023, Show Choir America. Then we got Fame Chicago in March 25th, 2023. Branson Fame April 1st, 2023. And then Fame National Finals April 1st. So I think there was more Fame shows in the past. But with time, it's shortened because not as many groups do it. And because I think there used to be like a couple more. I may be wrong, but I think there may have been a little bit more of them. Because I feel like there should be more, but I think just not as many groups go to Fame anymore. So it's like they do the state competitions and state circuits more, and that's just because it's probably cheaper. And
Oh
also
yeah,
for a show choir to travel, it's like one bus, depending on the size of your choir. But
that's
like,
fair.
like we took two because we had an SL group and an SS group.
Hmm.
The mixed male and woman's choir was SS, the syndicated sound, and then the all women's choir was SL,
Yeah.
sophisticated ladies. So it'd be on basically separate buses. And also like with choir, it doesn't take
Were
as
there
much to
people that were in both?
um my my junior year, yes, there was a couple, but it was like two,
Oh, okay.
and it was like the seniors who had the time to be in both. Because again, with Tarpon, we have 2 periods for music in a row, so my schedule literally was like first period nothing, 2 periods of band, third period. No, it's not. Sorry, fourth period. Fourth period would be like theory or practice class. Fifth would be either AP theory or practice class, depending on the year, because I moved up, and then it switched. And then sixth and seventh was choir for me. So it was like,
Dang, so you just straight up took music classes.
oh yeah, all my classes were academically were all online basically. But SS, like the mixed choir, was at the end of the day, sixth and seventh for like choir schedule. SL was fourth and fifth. Freshman choir was second and third. First was nothing for him, I'm pretty sure. And then after we wouldn't have concert choir rehearsals until
Right.
after school. So like our choir was a show choir. In class, like yeah, here and there we would like start sight reading for like MPAs, and we would start doing some concert choir music when it was like before the Christmas break or after show choir competitions, but we kept the show choir show going the whole year because we still
Right.
performed it at like 2 more concerts for the end of the year. So it's like we were a show choir, so we did it the whole year. Concert choir was after school. After school.
Hmm.
So it was a very interesting thing, but I kind of liked it that way because I loved show choir, and show choir takes a lot of precision, but other programs do like concert choir in the day, show choir after school. So, like, I wish I got to do more like concert choir-y stuff, but like, I love my show choir.
Right.
I love that performing aspect of like dancing and getting down with it. And with us being a like a show choir for Christmas, we would learn a Christmas show just to perform for Christmas, and then never touch it again.
Right.
Like a Christmas show choir show, like three,
That's
four
fun.
songs, like so. like we would literally learn like 2, 3 choreographed songs and then
Hmm.
learn it in like 2 weeks and then throw it out the window. And the students would choreograph it, which is cool.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
But yeah, so show choir, these competitions won't happen till March. Um, so it will be a minute till we even get into like show choir. But I consider this show choir preseason. Like we're very, very, very early. Dance camps are happening now, or already have happened, or are going to happen. Um, and we'll start seeing some show choir shows happening as we approach towards the winter.
Right.
Um, but mainly this focus of like this season's like marching band, state circuits, BOA.
Yeah.
Um, End of the season we'll get into like more show choir stuff and
Yeah.
also indoor preseason as that we approach that. But we're also going to start diving more into like concert ensembles and stuff like that. And like maybe, just look at some pieces, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Maybe dive into some Mahler, who knows, some piece analysis,
I'm here for
um,
that.
just for fun. And
You
so,
pique my interest with Mahler.
like, that's kind of going to be what that off season is too. Like, after everything's done and we're kind of just waiting for drum corps to start back up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, show choir, it's not very mainstream, but it's actually, fun fact, in Ohio, it was something I heard my junior year. I don't know if it's true now, and I should look it up. But my choreographer, who was from Indy, he now lives in California, Damon Brown.
Okay.
He said something about Ohio making show choir in schools a extracurricular activity, so it would
Okay.
count as like their PE credit,
Yeah, that's fair.
and it should be counted as PE credit
Oh
because
yeah, I agree.
you're dancing a 30-minute show. Like,
That's PE. That is physical. That is yeah.
like the only time you get a break in a show choir show
It's a costume change.
is a costume change, and if you have it, but the guaranteed like resting part in any show choir show is your ballad, kind of
Oh well,
like
yeah.
marching band. How like your marching band ballad's usually a little more laid back.
A
Get a
little more musical, not
yeah,
the
focus
running
on the
gun.
music.
Yeah.
Like some choreo, some nice sway choreo, like just some nice laid back stuff. Um, but yeah, show like, and it's kind of like how in drum corps and marching band, how like at the end of a movement, you don't want to be like,
No.
like the ballad is that same way. Like you're standing there like that, like crying. Like it's not it's and the thing about show choir is another thing we talk about in that we don't have to really worry about in band more say, but I do get it with when I teach choreography and I'm with my ensemble with Licking Heights. I'm about to get into facials.
Oh yeah.
Put your face in the show,
Mhm.
and in
Oh
show
yeah.
choir, your whole face, like singing, no matter if you're singing or not, you can still like move your lips and like mouth while you sing it, and eyebrows. It's all about the eyebrows with facials.
Right. You
You
gotta
need
sell it. You gotta sell
if
the
it's a
show.
happy show, get happy, like get into it. If it's a zombie show, like be a little bit more like out of it. But
Ah.
it's like and
Ah.
every show has like a facial, and every
Yeah.
song especially like we
Have you seen that Boston video of that Boston Crusaders pit player?
yes, like
That
that
one.
scene. She
That's what
knows
I
what
thought.
she's doing.
I
Put
find
her in
that
my
very
show
funny.
choir. Like that's facials. And the thing is, like, I'm about to get with the Licking Heights students, and because we're about to do a lot of freeform stuff, because
Right.
their show has a lot calls for a lot of freeform. If not,
Yeah.
it looks kind of awkward, and I'm not gonna
Have you
have
guys
them.
announced yet or
I think technically, but I'm gonna wait until like we actually have our
the
first
first show?
show,
Yeah.
like next Saturday. I'll talk about it more. But I do like it. I think it's a cool show for a band out in the country. So
And out in the country.
and I have loved choreographing
Back
it.
in the cornfields
So
of Ohio?
seriously,
Yeah, I know.
dude.
Trust me, I know.
We went to the sweet corn parade the other day. Like, um, but what was I saying?
Facials?
Yeah, facials. Like, I'm about to get with them and say, listen, you're freeforming, your instruments are down. If you're freeforming and I'm telling you you can do whatever you want, it's freeform, you need to use your face. If you are
Mm-hmm.
looking at the audience, you need to use your face. Like, you can't just be, like, freeforming it out and just.
No.
And I think this is the first time I yelled today.
Oh, you yelled?
Well, I didn't, like, yell, but, like,
Shame.
I got like louder because again my voice is like hurting, so I like kind
Yeah.
of like try to get out. But like we were in the ballad in the end of the ballad today, and we just got the props today too, so I was doing a lot of prop work at the start,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they weren't looking at the field commanders or drum majors.
Right.
We call them field commanders in Ohio, but drum majors. They weren't looking at the drum majors, and it was mainly the woodwinds.
Oh, well,
And
yeah, of
I went
course.
up to the field commander right in front of him, the drum major, stood at their podium, and I tried to like lock eyes with the students. Nobody, nobody was looking at the field commander drum major, and I literally like looked at like the director up there, Miss Beavers. I was like, hold on a second. I looked at the woodwinds. I'm like, woodwinds, are we even looking up right now? They're like, yeah, and I'm like, no, you're not. I just watched you. I see a clarinet player right in front of me looking down. And I'm like, listen, when I tell you to look down in fundamentals, it's so you can see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong.
Right.
But do I
Not
tell you, how many times do I tell you to do that?
never.
Once or zero times at the start of the year. And I'm, because we've been in a bad habit of like, when we dress forms, that we're looking, and
Well,
I just now got them out of that and saying, listen, you can't turn your full head
no.
in performance or in a basics block at a competition, and I'm now finally taught them, use your eyes, you can slightly turn your head if you need to, but not like they're full blown turning their head.
I mean, some
And
bands say dress center, dress or dress left, dress, and they all turn their head that way.
like like but
But
again,
that's
like
not
they
that's not
they
the idea
put
you're
that in
getting
their
across.
show. That's the thing. And
Ooh.
like Looking Heights, they do dress all the way down. But again, she said like when I first started, it's my visual thing. I made and I can make any changes I want. So I did what Tarpon does and what Boston does is dress center.
Yeah.
Dress into the center. Like we're gonna start dressing center. Look left and right. Doesn't matter because like again like you can't just dress left because what
No.
if like the person on the right like you can't see them but and they're
No.
struggling, like you need to be a team,
You
don't
need to
just leave the
dress
person to
center.
your right, like. And that's the my thing is like I get the dress left thing because it's like the highest up, but that's where I'm like kind of next year I think how her and I are going to try and set up the block is like vets on the side, vets in the center, everyone else in the middle. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and just dress the line. And they understand like, so now they don't turn their heads because I said like if you turn your head you're running a lap, like if you turn your head you're running a lap, basically. It's like, I didn't say that but you know what I
Oh,
mean.
I
I'm
would
basically,
have.
I what we do is like we say you're gonna run a lap but then you don't.
But
But it's a scare tactic and
but that's
it
building a
works,
bad
it
habit.
works
But
every
that's building a
time.
bad habit.
No, it
If you
doesn't.
tell them,
No, they listen. They listen. We literally told some kid today. We were like, what was the circumstance? Oh, we said to him, everyone get set. He's the only one without his feet closed, and we're like, we
bro,
said his name like you're running a lap today, and then after rehearsal, it's like, do I have to run a lap? And I'm like, did you learn from your mistake? He's like, yeah, and I'm like, no, you don't have to run any lap then.
no,
But
I would do it.
we're not a BOA band. We don't do
No,
that.
it's not even that.
Well, Mitchell, if it works for the program, it works for the
That's
program.
fair.
Like these kids listen to that. They're not used
Right.
to getting their butt whooped 4 times, like for 4 hours a day, having to run laps. They're not a Bands of America band. They're country kids. Like they listen when they're told to listen. The
Right.
only time we make them run laps is if they're being like mouthy, or they don't have like their dot card, their chalk to mark their spot on the blacktop, stuff like that. But like if it's something like oh, you're talking, run a lap, like as if they're, because usually like these kids, like they'll talk once,
Right.
and if you say their name, they won't talk like the rest of the week. It's like they know their limit, and that's the thing, because Beavers is very strict. So it's like you don't even have to say lap. I give them laps, and depending on how the rest of the rehearsal goes, I'll take it away. So like that's how it is. That's how it is with us.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say the only reason I say because like you remember Mr. Muth over at Westfield, right? You know, he's a guy that will not take crap.
And
He
well, and that's the
literally,
thing with us. It's like we're a great band, and the one thing we have a problem with is like 100% focus. But
oh well, yeah, that's
as
everyone.
soon as like we don't have to say run a lap. If one of us raises our voice, they stop
Oh well, yeah, that's just normal. Yeah.
because they don't. And that's where it's like for our philosophy. Like again, like I'm okay with the lap thing. I think it helps with conditioning. I give them laps and I make them run them. But they like Miss Beavers. She doesn't really like 100% do that. She's like, if a kid's acting up and you want to do it, go ahead. And I'm like, I'm gonna do that. Um, like if they're not listening and they're not like if they're just like forgetting, like your dot card for the fifth day in a row, like yeah, you're gonna run a lap every day. You don't have your dot card. Like that's kind of the
Is
end
it
of
wait
that.
a dot card as in like just a printed sheet with all your coordinates?
Yes,
Oh okay. Oh man.
that like the most important thing in marching band besides you and your
Right.
instrument. Like, and that's like where the lap thing is. Like I get because she's like, like these kids like they work hard
No, they do.
and and this is the thing is like she doesn't. We don't have time for them to run laps. Like we don't.
No.
Like we're
No,
just
we don't have
rehearse,
time.
rehearse, and
Right.
we get them so engaged to where they just forget how like the rehearsal goes by like so quick because they're
Right.
actually like really engaged.
Yeah.
And ever since I've gotten there, I tell them in my fundamentals block, like when we're just doing marching fundamentals or choreo, if I'm talking, raise your hand and look at me.
Right.
We did that
Mm-hmm.
at Tarpon.
Yep. We
I
did that
said,
caramel. We did that cadets.
and that's how like we did the similar thing at Boston too. I'm like, and I said to them because they were like, it was one of my first days starting on my own. Like she wasn't out taking attendance. I went out there with the mic. I'm like get set up. We usually do fundamentals block, which is the full band at the same time.
Right.
But I condense them down to what I call basics block or across the floors.
Right.
What we always did at Tarpon, which is line by line,
Dude,
and
I
that's where
live for across the floors.
I love across the floors. I
See,
prefer it
I
over
had a
anything. You can
very
pick everything out that way.
that from a teaching
Everything.
perspective, but from a kid perspective, I will say I may or
It's
may not have
stressful.
had. Well, it's not even stressful to me, dude.
It can
It
be
wasn't.
stressful.
It can be,
These
but at the
kids were
same
like,
time,
they,
like they
they
were
looked at
rocked.
they
Yeah,
looked at
they
me
were
like,
chalked.
because and the thing is like when I came there, she's like, well, when I was in the interview, she's like, listen, we have someone who takes guard. I take woodwinds. He takes brass. He takes perk. We need someone that can help with the brass because you're a high brass player. Because the guy's a low brass player,
Hmm.
Polly. But we need someone to really take visual, clean some like help clean drill. Get on them about technique and refine the
Hmm.
technique and define it, choreography, props, and all this. And that's my job. I'm the visual
Hmm.
guy. Like, everything visual you can imagine I do, except for color guard. I write all the
Right.
choreo. I help change some drill. Like I do all that stuff. It's like that's why I'm there. And also I get them to look good as a group. So
Right.
when I got there, they were at 45s. Changed it to 90. They got the feet like this. Like no,
No.
put it at 90.
It put it at
And
90.
I've changed like their horn carry.
Oh
like
God.
all that stuff, like their horn up, like flutes, all that. Like
Westfield says Carrie is down at their side, and that's what I really don't
it's just
like.
different for
It's
schools. Like
it's it's different for schools, but like it just looks so weird to me when
I
they say
call
Carrie. When they
this
say
is carry
Carrie,
and
this is
set.
Carrie.
Like this is set and carry. This is playing position. Um,
I was
the
gonna say
horn,
Carrie set
the horn straight up and down, left hand trail, right hand trail, and then if it's turned and you're holding it like by its valve casing, that's
briefcase or
suitcase,
suitcase, yeah,
briefcase.
whatever.
Um, but that's how they like their trail is naturally like the suitcase, and I say hey go to
Yeah,
suitcase. Like
same.
I basically redefined the term since I've been there, and since I've been there, like at first obviously it's a new person, so they don't fully like respect them and they don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since they now respect since I know what I'm talking about and I'm teaching them new things. That's you have to earn the students' respect,
Oh, you
and
do. You
now
totally do.
they're all like completely focused when I'm there. You know, like I have fun with them, like before rehearsal stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. You know, like I get to know them. Um,
I'll have fun during rehearsal with the students, but like we
I
still
will
get crap
too.
done.
Like all of us, all the staff do. Like we all have fun with them, and then it's like, hey, focus in. They all focus.
Right.
And the thing is, like, but in the like when they're not getting worked with, that's when it's like, and that's every band. It's like when they're not getting worked with, they start getting talky,
Oh yeah.
and that's where it's like,
Well,
hey,
see,
shush your mouth.
with
Like
across the floors, that was a very bad thing for me solely because I
you're
had a
waiting for
bad,
so long till you step off.
well, that and the fact of the matter that I usually was in line with all the baritones from my grade. So take that
Low
as you will.
brass, low
Take that
brass.
as you will.
Don't have to say anything. Low
I play
brass.
high brass, but like mentally and
Mellophone is a both. It's both. It's
I
low and
mean
high brass.
socially I was low brass and mentally I was low brass.
Well, that's what Mr. De Leon would always say. He's always like, "Listen, you guys are low brass." Mr. Aaron Bailey would say the same thing. Mellows, you're
Really?
also low brass. So it was, yeah. Mellows are both. They're low and high brass.
Yeah.
They don't get the mid spot, nothing.
Bro, that's mid.
But
Mellows are
another
not mid.
like
Mellows
another
are
thing with
great.
Looking Heights is like, we have like 2 hour rehearsals roughly.
Right.
We send them out, stretch on their own. I do have a stretch routine, but we didn't really get to teach it this year. So next year we're going to teach the stretch routine and start the day off like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's at the point in the
Are
season
you gonna do it with
where
music?
it's to Mr. Blue Sky. I already have it.
Oh,
Um,
bro, I was gonna say if you need music, I got you. There's a couple bangers that we had.
no, we do it to like the full thing of Mr. Blue Sky. And it's like
Human.
it's half like stretch, and then it starts getting into like kind of body stuff, like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
choreography.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
that's what we did.
And we kind of decided like next year we'll teach the body like the
Mm-hmm.
first. So because we have a pre-camp week,
Right.
and that was my first week, and I wasn't. She didn't want me to teach the body that week, so we just like, you know, it just kind of kept getting behind us, and we're just like, okay, so next year pre-camp, teach the body so they know it. So like, we plan for it next year basically. Is
Right.
so I
Yeah.
still have it. It will just get taught next year, and it will also be a lot easier for them since they're getting introduced to so much new things this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I go up to them, I'm like, "Does anyone know what a coupe is? A passe, a tendu?"
Passe?
And they're like,
No.
and I'm like, everybody go into a plie, and half of them like stick their butt out, and I'm like, it's not a squat. It's not a squat.
Bro, you are not taking a poo right on the
And-
field. I swear.
And as soon as like I started defining things more like 4 starch, 90 degree in the leg, heel straight up, like it's like all these mini things that kind of like blow their mind up when you're telling them so much at once.
Right.
They're but as soon like we taught them the one choreo move where you've repped it the whole week, did no other choreo, looks amazing.
And
but
then when
now
you throw
they're-
on others, it just goes to crap.
Well, and it's not that.
I
It's
wouldn't
'cause-
say crap. It's not bad, but like it's definitely at a lower retention rate, and that's just typical.
Well, and that's where it's obviously when we start touching it in the drill, obviously it's going to get cleaned then. We don't have to clean it before rehearsal anymore.
No.
What we do is every time I teach a new choreo move, the next day we start with that move, do fundamentals, or we do fundamentals, go to the choreo move we learned, rehearse the show, wherever there's choreo in the show, obviously, we'll rep it a couple times and it gets cleaned. Like, that's how it is. That's how we did at Tarpon, too. It's not,
Right.
we didn't have like choreo blocks, but how, like, I start rehearsal, it's like, I do fundamentals, we review choreo or teach new choreo, and then when we get to that part in the review, we add it to the drill.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a very organized system. Our plan changes day to day, but this week I'm
Well,
teaching
yeah.
part 3 choreo, which is like
Is
6
that
to 8.
valid choreo?
No, part 2s are valid
I
because our
see.
part 1's like 3 minutes long.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's
So
like
is it a three-part show?
no, it's 4 parts. We have 4. Um,
Okay, gotcha.
we made a lot of cuts to our fourth movement just because it seemed a bit too long, and there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things we didn't need. So we just finished making cuts to it, and then we're gonna probably get the drill, and then the next week and a half, and then because that's the only my whole show's choreographed except for part 4, so I'm just waiting on the drill for it. That's all. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like, but what I'm getting the point is like the kids like now that they've learned how I teach choreo and what their choreo is gonna feel like, and they know because I did a whole fundamentals block on just choreo definitions. I'm like, here's your first position, here's your second position, here's your third position,
Mm-hmm.
here's your fourth position, here's your
Right.
fifth position. So it's like all these things at once, but
Mm-hmm.
they got a hang of it, so I'm not worried. But
Yeah.
uh, next week we'll probably start talking more. We'll start diving more back into marching band. We'll touch more on show choir state circuits, kind of what I mentioned with the OSC like the Ohio Show Choir Association. Every state's got roughly something. I won't say every state because we learned that the hard way with state circuits for marching band. Um, but there are, I won't say a lot of show choirs, but show choir is more of like a Tennessee North type thing, and like
Mm-hmm.
East Coast. Like it's like Indiana's very show choir bound. Avon actually has
Mm-hmm.
one of the best show choirs, believe it or not. Avon High School. They actually, I think they go to fame.
Hmm. I'm sure Carmel's does. I just didn't really pay attention to it.
Avon has one of the better show choirs. How does that
Okay.
feel, Mitchell? How does that feel, Mitchell?
I'm not gonna say it right now, but
Yeah. If it's not PG,
that's all I'm
oh
saying.
yeah. Hopefully, BA will do a four-peat somehow. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in this week, everybody. If you haven't looked on the website recently, all of our
Get your
shirts are on
shirts.
there.
Get your shirts.
Get your shirts. Still thinking about adding that teddy bear and hat to the website.
I
Um,
want the hat.
Hades Part 4 bound. We're getting into that. So, very exciting things coming soon. I know like the start of the season's kind of felt really slow, but we're still getting into it. Next couple weeks are going to start getting hectic. We're going to have a lot of band stuff to cover.
Oh yeah.
Lots and lots of band. Lots and lots of heavy debates probably. And
Oh
probably
yeah.
a couple more guests that will
Mhm.
also be a part of the debates. And I
Oh
will
yeah.
win and I will win any debate with Mitchell on this
You
podcast.
will not.
We're gonna need to have a whole season where we just watch the musicians list arts podcast, the
We don't need to do
DCI
that.
Fight Week,
Oh God.
where you like got obliterated.
Dreams in the Hawks was a fantastic show. Don't at
No,
me. Yes, it
no,
was.
it
It
was
was. It
not.
was beautiful, man.
I'm gonna I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna
That
shred your
that's
T-shirt.
bro, I was gonna say, where is it?
I don't know, Mitchell. Where is your T-shirt?
I don't know, man.
I'm wearing my Madness shirt.
Ah,
I wore this
I'm
to
wearing
rehearsal
my
too.
Ohio State marching band shirt.
You're a UK marching band now.
I've had this thing for 3 years.
Oh yeah, because you went to that camp.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
forgot. I forgot when you sent me videos of that like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a good time.
Well, Ohio State's the best damn man in the land, so can't deny that one.
Nope,
Um,
can't deny it.
but yep, thank you all for tuning in this week, and next week we're gonna start diving back into some marching band a bit more, and talk about some show choir state circuits, and then we probably won't touch show choir for a little bit. We'll touch on it here and there, but like we'll start getting into that a lot more as we approach winter and spring season. But again, thanks you all for tuning in this week, and we'll catch y'all next week. So peace out.